show this morning. Thanks for tuning in. Rockers in Recovery. Give you a little bit of information about us and what we do and how we do it. Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery education. We do it through music, news, events, festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community. Prevention's the name of the game. You know, it's a cool thing. The word around here is Rockers in Recovery, where recovery, education, and prevention and rock and roll come together. If you checked out over the weekend, we had put up a blog. It was pretty incredible, had a lot of exposure. And it was talking about depression is real, and it's not what you think. And, of course, it's Chris Cornell, who died early Thursday morning. You know, that when you think about the whole process of watching a family member suffer from addiction and then suffer from depression and anxiety and the combination, you put them all together. And then, of course, all of the other things that come with it. And a great article, great read. Go to Rockers in Recovery on Facebook, and it says, Depression is Real, please read. And want to bring on our guest this morning. A great guy. I've known him for many years, but most importantly, not only is he a good, a great person to help with information and recovery and treatment of addicts, but he is also a person that has integrity and is a blessing to many people. I'm going to bring on Dr. Nick Colangelo. How are you, Dr. Nick? Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, John. Great to be with you this morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, brother. Hey, listen, quick. I'm sure you heard about the whole Chris Cornell thing since Thursday.
Yeah.
And when you think about the depression end of an addict that suffers with addiction to begin with, and then you're always going to have depression along with it. But when you have somebody that's clinically depressed on top of it, what do you feel is the situation that you could help somebody in that predicament? You know what I mean, with their situation.
Well, our world is still pretty confusing, John. As an addict alcoholic, as a person that may have other situations operating on them, until people and the helping community understands that if an addict alcoholic just stops drinking and drugging, they are going to suffer from a depression that is unique to their circumstance. And then if you add clinical depression, you're going to wind up with the result like we did over the weekend. We've walked away from physical, emotional, and spiritual understanding of addiction. And if I only treat the physical, I am left with a restless, irritable, discontented, almost combative, unfulfilled attitude. And I'm either going to relapse or I'm going to seep into a clinical depression. So the helping community needs to take a look at it. And then secondly, if not just as important, the shame factor of one being an addict alcoholic, secondly having another issue, we don't want to get appropriate help with it. We want to fight it ourselves. And you know what? Unfortunately, harmful results wind up that way.
Do you think that's when, hey, listen, everybody has their denial. So when you end up having a twofold, disease, when you're dealing with the, actual addiction, and then you're dealing with a mental health issue, a dual diagnosis, it's almost like having, somebody that's in denial of two things. They have denial of their own addiction because that's what they're medicating with, but most importantly, they're denying their how do you get past that denial of the mental health issue and the alcoholism and drug addiction?
It depends where and how I am, what I think of myself. Look, I'm a loser is the beginning of getting better if you're an addict. You got to accept, what we call rock bottom. Now you've got a mental health issue. Now it's like you're asking somebody to get past being a double loser. And you know what? You can become a double winner if you accept, operative word, accept that I can't do this by myself and I need help. And that is an internal mechanism that goes off. You know, if I knew how to affect the internal mechanism in anyone that allows them to look in the mirror and say, I need help, long before they destroy their life, I'd have the Nobel Prize. You know, there's this free fall, there's this stuff that goes on, and somehow outside circumstances are assistive. But until the branch of I'm going to do this myself and I don't need help cracks or breaks inside of us, no one really gets enough help. You know, I had a friend that had an interesting statement. He said, we all need help, and if we get enough help, we'll be fine. The problem is I cannot be the arbiter of what enough is. Somebody else has to do that for me. And it goes back to that. It goes back to that surrender process of, you know, I can't do this. I need help. You know, in clinical depression, there is a darkness, a blackness that the person believes, at least with the people I've worked with, that they're never going to be light in their life again. And if you're not surrounded or have contact with people that are telling you that, your brain is lying to you. The pain of that darkness sets the stage for, you know, I got to leave this. I got to stop this right now. And that's where suicide pops up, the ugliness of suicide. Relief at any price.
When you look at and you're absolutely right, but when you look at the process of going, let's talk about 12-step or any other type of organization that's going to support the effort, and where do you think that leads when somebody goes into the herd, so to speak? And do you feel that helps them to be able to round off on people if they're willing to listen? And most importantly, do you feel that a 12-step approach is something that could help along with, you know, a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Well, I was taught by some pretty good people, and, you know, look, if almost everybody has a form of depression when they hit AA or they hit NA or any other 12-step program because they're in a conflict with what they think it should be and what it is. And until some of that works out, there is a unique depression presentation. I caution. I was trained by very good people. They said, you know, if somebody is going to a 12-step program, they're doing everything they're supposed to do. Not the person that isn't doing everything they're supposed to do, but the person that's doing everything they're supposed to do. And they're presenting symptoms of life isn't worth living, I'd be better if I wasn't here, and they have a plan. You better get them to a psychiatrist, because I will tell you, quite frankly, they need medication. Well, what's the time frame of that? Well, you know, if a fellow's walking around threatening suicide in the first 3 weeks he's in a 12-step program, get him to a psychiatrist. It doesn't make any difference whether they are or they're not. What you need to do is, the responsible thing is, man, you got to see a doctor. If someone is languishing in a 12-step program and their life is not getting better, and they're describing this internal suffering and that life is gray, and, you know, I think it'd be better if I killed myself. Man, get them to a psychiatrist and get out of the way of how you judge how the psychiatrist treats them or not. You know, the only problem I have with psychiatry today, and I'm outspoken about it, you know, you can treat depression with a medication. You don't need 15 medications. But I'd rather stay out of that right now. This is about the person who is addicted, has got a clinical depression, is in a darkness. You know what? The 12 steps will assist them up to a point. But if they don't get the same relief that their brother or sister is getting that they're sitting next to, it reinforces I'm different and this is a bunch of crap for me.
Yeah.
You know, look, two broken legs require 2 castings, not 1.
Very, very interesting. When you look at Clearbrook's been around since 1972, and you have treated a lot of folks. You're a nonprofit organization. You deal with a lot of different personalities and different things. When you took over at Clearbrook as CEO, and you work with clients daily, you do a 10 o'clock meeting. Is that correct? Every morning, or is that once a week? When do you do your lectures there?
Monday at 10 o'clock. Well, Monday or Tuesday
Monday
at 10 o'clock, and then I'm available for the patients throughout the week.
So over the years, have you found that your successes, and I don't want to call them successes, but they are successes. People that go out and successfully stay clean are successful. And do you find that a lot of those folks come back and give back to the community, or do you see them in the community and giving back and plugged in? How's the reaction to that for you as a human being?
Well, I have my own look. Success is not whether you drink or drug or not. Saving your life is whether you drink or drug or not. Success requires a couple of more elements. And, you got to clear away the wreckage of your past. You got to get right with everybody you're mad at. You got to try and make amends. You got to come to a consideration that you need other people, that you need a higher power God in your life. And, when you look at the 12th step of all the 12-step programs, it is all in preparation to taking care of and helping your fellow man. And the people I see prosperous not only put themselves together and their families together and improve their potential in the work environment and make a success at that, what they are always involved in is the consideration of being assistant to other human beings in the struggle. And, it's like being inside Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, because it's a celebration of life. It is people who were loners now becoming involved in their community, in their neighborhood, in their group, and being assistive to other people. I mean, it's the most glorious thing in the world to see. And I experienced that in our community and in all the communities that I've worked in. Working in a treatment environment and being part of the community myself, what I am able to do is see these folks go out and become part of life again. These were people, when I met them, they were darn near dead. Now, does this happen to everybody? No. Do people relapse? Absolutely. But over a period of time, since I've been here, since 1982 in Northeast Pennsylvania, I have seen people eventually get their life back in order and go forward. The other side of this coin, I also see the tragedy of an immediate overdose and a death, and then I see the tragedy of 10, 15, 20 years sober and clean, and there's a relapse, and man, the house of self-destruction is reset. But by the far more I see in the community that I live in, that you know what, I've got this deal. Everybody that's willing to do the right thing, everybody that's willing to do the right thing gets a new lease on life. It's the biggest mulligan the world has ever given a human being.
In October 2015, you celebrated 40 years in recovery, and I'd like you to give a little bit of background on your recovery journey, just so people can get the hope.
Well, I was hopeless. I walked out of about a year before I got sober. I walked out of a meeting and said, if this is it, I think I'll just go drink and drug until I die. And so I spent a year trying to accomplish that. And like everything else in my life in addiction, I failed horribly at it, and wound up near a moment of almost, I believe I was very close to dying, and I had a moment. I was delivered a moment of truth, and that I realized that alcohol and drugs had ruined every good thing my life had ever provided for me. And there was an overwhelming emotional shame and pain that I couldn't shake. And in a semi-psychotic, dismantled state, I cried out and said, God help me. The next morning, everything that people had been telling me to do for 2 or 3 years seemed to have a new reality attached to it. And the first thing I did when I got to a phone was call someone and say, please help me. And I knew exactly what they were going to tell me to do. They were going to tell me, you're so sick, you got to go to the hospital. And the words came out of my mouth were, okay. And I followed that up for the first time in my life by saying okay, and then my feet got under my mouth, and I was admitted to a hospital. I was surrounded by a very good group of humanity that actually helped and prepared me to be very, very comfortable walking into a room that I was always uncomfortable in when I was discharged, and I've been there for 40 years doing what they asked me to do. The rest is history. You know, there are things that happen to us that we understand that it makes no difference how I try to understand what happened. Only the people who have had that happen to them will understand. It's like being hit by lightning. You know, somebody tries to tell me what it feels like to be hit by lightning. Yeah, I get it a little, but I don't really get it because I haven't been there. My willingness is still foreign to me because of the defiance I lived with all my life. And the way I protect this gift is with complying with what a 12-step program teaches me to do and be. And I've had a wondrous, remarkable life, from total devastation and near homelessness and crippleness into a functional and a celebrated life with kids and wife and grandchildren that are beyond my wildest expectations. You know, it's all written in a book if people want to read it. And then if they want to read it and then follow it, it is available to anyone. I don't do anything special. I'm not special. I'm just willing. And I'd like to tell you how that happened. I think it was delivered to me, and somehow my recognition allows me to protect that. I do what I'm supposed to do to the best of my ability. Not perfect, but I do it to the best of my ability. And it's available to anyone. And, you know, the old saying of the people I hang out with is, you know, if I would have known it was this good over here, I would have left where I was sooner. But you know what? I couldn't see it, and I didn't know it. Now I know it, and pray God I never want to go back the other way.
Amazing. You know, if you're listening to the show, we're talking to Dr. Nick Colangelo of Clearbrook Treatment Centers. And if you'd like to speak with Dr. Nick, you can call 888-414-4209. Again, that phone number is 888-414-4209. And, of course, he is very open to speak with people. And if he's not available, there are people that are there to be able to speak with you, too. But, again, you know, Dr. Nick, I want to thank you for all you do for the recovery community, for what you do to, you know, help people see your light, because you're shining your light of recovery almost 42 years, one day at a time. You're doing it. You're doing a deal, and people get to see that, and that's a remarkable thing. It's a blessing.
Well, what a gift, and it's you know, I want to thank you and Rockers in Recovery and what you do and spreading the word and making us part of something rather than just lone wolves out here. Thank you, John.
Well, we thank you. And, again, if you're looking to speak with Dr. Nick or the staff at Clearbrook Treatment Centers, call 888-414-4209. And it's also on the page. You'll be able to just click on the link there and go to the page, and there's a whole biography of Dr. Nick and also where you can contact him. I'm also going to give a suicide prevention lifeline this morning. If you're dealing with a suicidal ideation, you can call 800-273-8255. But either number will get you what you need.
Hey, John, you know, just a footnote on this. Anybody out there that is thinking of hurting themselves and life isn't worth living, call anyone, clergyman, fireman, policeman, neighbor, brother, sister. Do not sit there by yourself. Reach out, call someone.
Nick, again, thank you so much for being on the show, and we're going to play a song from Mike Zito, who was one of our guests the other day, and it's One Step at a Time. Again, Dr. Nick, thanks for being on the show. God bless. We will talk soon, brother.
All right, thank you. God bless, John.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go, guys. Dr. Nick from Clearbrook Treatment Centers, and, of course, Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery education. And we do it through prevention and music and news and events and festivals and radio shows and live streaming events, concert events. If you can, check out our new page today, and that's Rockers in Recovery on Facebook, but we also have Sobriety Rocks Music Fest. It's going to be taking place. Check out that information. You can also check us out at rockersinrecovery.com. Have a blessed day, and one step at a time. Mike Zito.
I tell you what, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be alive, brother and sisters. I don't know what keeps this whole big thing going around, but I'm all for it.
Carry me on. Hurry in to Old Navy this Saturday and Sunday to get jeans for the whole family on sale. Just $15 for adults, $12 for kids. Plus, redeem your Super Cash starting this Saturday to save even more at Old Navy and OldNavy.com. Super Cash valid 6/3 to 6/11. Jeans valid 6/3 to 6/4. Select styles only. Hurry in to Old Navy this Saturday and Sunday to get jeans for the whole family on sale. Just $15 for adults, $12 for kids. Plus, redeem your Super Cash starting this Saturday to save even more at Old Navy and OldNavy.com. Super Cash valid 6/3 to 6/11. Jeans valid 6/3 to